Yo, what's up? So, I wanted to talk about some of the important lessons that you learn from being an unwanted man, right? An unwanted male. I feel like that word is much more is a safer alternative to other words, right? Unwanted male. Right? One of the biggest things, I guess that's the most general lesson, though, that you learn is forced independence, right? Because, people will tell you, oh, bro, just focus on yourself, bro. Then you'll get a girlfriend, right? And when you're an unwanted male, that's the only choice you have, right? You don't have a choice but to do anything else, but just focus on yourself and do basically everything by yourself, right? You don't have the luxury of, oh yeah, I can just rely on someone else, or I have these other people that I can hang out with or talk to or whatever, right? You don't have that kind of stuff. You don't have some kind of social support group, right? You just learn to basically cope, right? It's what it is.
Stopped on road ahead.
You cope by yourself, right? You learn to cope with, by just dealing with stuff, right? Like, you almost kind of suck it up no matter what, right? People say, oh, bro, that's why women don't like you, because you're complaining, right? But it's not even really complaining. It's just explaining my life circumstances, right? And even if you do want to nitpick and call it complaining, then what does it even matter, right? If I do end up dealing with it, right? It's not like, oh yeah, I'm complaining about it and just not living my life, right? At the end of the day, right? I still, I didn't get a girlfriend in high school, and I still went to high school and graduated. Not that it's much of an accomplishment, but but there's some people who actually, or not even just high school, right? College too, right? There's some people who don't graduate, or they fail their classes or all this stuff because they get depressed or whatever because they don't get laid, basically, right? No girlfriend. Oh, I'm depressed and I'm just gonna lay down and rot max, right? That's what they do. Or they end up being neat. They don't go get a job, right? It's like, or just do anything, or they completely give up on personal responsibilities, right? Like, they don't try to do normie responsibilities, right? Like, they don't try to, basically, yeah, they just rot max, right? They'll let themselves become overweight and unhealthy and grow a crazy neck beard, right? All this stuff, right? They basically try to Redditor max because they're too depressed, because they can't get a girlfriend, right? But that's some of the guys, right? But some guys at the same time, they do learn to cope, right? And the ones that learn forced independence learn to cope the best, right? Where you learn to, oh yeah, it doesn't matter if I don't have a girlfriend and I'm not getting laid, and I never will. But I still gotta go get a job and gotta work and live a moderately decent life, right? Will it ever be an amazing life because you are unable to partake in something that's seen as so basic as like a relationship, right? No, it probably won't ever be, right? For most guys, it'll probably never be the amazing 100% max. You can't life max, right? Because you can't even you can't access that part of life, right? The relationships are like a locked content, right? That you can't participate in if life were a video game, right? And so you can never really 100% life max, right? Because you're excluded from that. But can you do the most you can in all other areas? Sure, right? And live a decent life? Sure. And that's what I do, right? It's like I still have to get up and go to work and take care of the dog and not Redditor max, right? But some guys will just give up, right? And rot max. And that's the big thing that I guess that I had to learn, right? That it doesn't matter, right? That you just have to deal with it. That's why, even the guys are like, oh, bro, I'm so sad. I want a rope, right? That almost seems, it's almost hard to relate to that kind of feeling to some extent. Because I never really felt that way, right? Because even when, when I knew I wasn't going to get a girlfriend, right? And I knew it was unlikely, like in high school, before I even decided to work out or anything, and I just played Xbox and whatever. I would cope by saying, well, whatever, I can't get a girlfriend, but I might as well just, um, play video games all day and try to get good at it, and at least, try to carry teammates in, Call of Duty and stuff like that, right? It would just be copes like that, right? Like, well, I guess it was almost if you can't be attractive, at least be useful. But it was more so be useful to other guys, right? Because it'd just be useful to the other guys on my team who are they're trying to play the game, but they're making you lose. But just that kind of stuff, right? It just because you learn as an unwanted male that you can't rely on other people, right? The forced independence. You can't rely on other people for anything, right? But you'll still, that desire to want a girlfriend doesn't go away just because I realize that. Like, I know I can't rely on anyone else to, make me content, right? Or, satisfy my emotional needs, that kind of stuff, right? I can't rely on that. Would it be nice to be able to think, oh yeah, I have a girlfriend, right? I can just talk to my girlfriend and it'll be nice, whatever. It's like, no, right? I know I can't rely on anyone, right? There will be no one there, because even with friends, right? Like I already talked about it, how even with I can't even keep male friends, because the moment a girl shows up, the whole dynamic changes, right? Mostly because I always end up being friends with other guys who are, kind of, maybe they're not straight up undesirable to like 100%. Like, some girls will still like them, but they're kind of loser adjacent guys, right? If not outright losers like me. So if a girl does show up, their relationship dynamic, their friendship dynamic between us changes, right? And they always end up leaving me for the girl. So, I can't really compete against that, right? Because it's almost, I can't compete against their hormones, their natural urge to, hey, getting a girl to like you is so rare. This girl likes me. I have to, take the bait, right? And, they go off and talk to her and hang out with her. And, and by consequence of that, stop hanging out with me, right? So eventually I just lose friendships, which are only male, right? Because girls come in and, break up the friendship. Mostly it's not like they do it on purpose. It's just that they come in, because they're attracted to my friend. And, the relationship slowly deteriorates because, they want to hang out with the girl because, they're like, it's just hormones, right? It's like they can't really help it or control it, I guess. And, they slowly drift away, and then, I lose the friendship, and then, I try, not to be an ass to them and like, prevent them from getting laid and stuff. So, I'll just, slowly walk away, right? And, whatever. Like, yeah, sure, bro, go get laid. I'll just leave, right? Because, that's what they really would like, right? They'd want me to kind of disappear so that him and the girl can have their alone time and they can escalate, right? They don't want some random loser guy just, watching them while they're trying to escalate things, right? And, it's kind of weird and funny, right? That this always happens to me, right? Like, girls will come and try to talk to my friends, right? Whenever I have any, right? They'll break up the friendship and try to talk to the other guy, right? But never has it happened when a girl comes up to try to talk to me and break up the friendship. Well, you know, they're not breaking it up on purpose, like I said, but you understand what I'm saying. A girl never does that, and you know, tries to break up the friendship with like me, right? And be attracted to me, right? So it's so crazy. At a certain point like that, it just isn't even a coincidence or anything, or it just happens too much to not be like, or like, oh yeah, it's a coincidence or something like that, right? Or whatever, right? It's like, obviously there's a huge discrepancy between the looks of me and my every other guy, right? Because even the other guys aren't always, you know, male model looking guys. It's not like, oh yeah, bro, just stop being friends with male models and chats, bro. Look, that's not the case, right? Because like I said, a lot of the friends I have are either, you know, losers or loser adjacent type of guys. So that's not the case of, oh yeah, bro, all your friends are just chads or whatever. No, it just really goes to show that I'm on a level of like unwantedness that's like basically almost unheard of, right? Because most guys, like I said, most guys, even these other guys aren't the other guys, you know, on like lookism forums or whatever, you know, they would say, oh yeah, bro, it's over for this guy. But, you know, I guess it isn't actually over for him, because he has a girl come up to him and be attracted to him and basically interfere with our friendship, right? It's crazy that it happens to all these other guys, right? And it's not even a personality thing, is it? Because if my personality was truly that bad, why would these guys want to, you know, hang out with me, right, in the first place, and do so for, you know, more than one time, right? For like months at a time until a girl shows up, and then bam, relationship or friendship gone, destroyed, because you know, because pussy, basically, right? Like, so, and that's even implying that personality is the most important thing, right? That, oh, you need a good personality, right? We don't need a good personality to get in a relationship. We already discussed it a lot of times, right? There's tons of guys who are either boring, awkward, or just bad people in general who still get girlfriends, right? So obviously, a good personality, in the sense, there's even guys who are bums, right? Who don't do anything but maybe smoke all day and are unemployed. So you can't even say, oh, bro, they're just good providers or something like that, right? I saw that someone put in that cope, right? Just be a good provider, right? So basically beta bucks. But that's not even a requirement, right? Because like I said, so there's some guys who don't have any money, right? Who don't have a job, who actually have the woman pay for, you know, the drugs or whatever they smoke, right? Or and then they just mooch off of the woman, and the woman is willing to pay for that just to be with him, right? And to give him like a roof over his head, right? Isn't that so crazy that, you know, there's countless examples of personality. At least a good personality is not a necessary thing. So yeah, you know, it's really brutal. The reality is brutal, isn't it? Where you constantly see that, hey, all my friends have these girls coming up to them and being attracted to them, and they're not doing anything special. They're not doing, crazy performances, you know, trying to like serenade these random girls. No. And a lot of these girls weren't even like oh yeah, they're not like typical like overweight, like blue-haired, like crazy cat ladies, right? It's not like that type of, right? Some of them are pretty decently cute girls, right? But that never happens to me, right? But it only happens to them. And like I said, we're kind of on the same level of personality of loser or loser adjacent, right? Not some popular guy who's, you know, a slayer or something like that. We're not that looks wise or personality wise, right? Me or my friends. So how does this even happen, right? It's just because I'm just on a different level, right? And not in a good way. And it's crazy, right? So I don't even know how I got to this point, right? It's like the important lessons that life teaches you when you're a very unwanted male, right? The forced independence, right? You
Car on shoulder ahead.
You can't count on other people, right? And you just gotta learn to cope with being by yourself in different ways. And you know, I think you know, my mind has done a pretty good job at that, because like I said, I don't even consider roping at all, right? It's not even something I ever think about or consider doing, because I got other stuff that I don't even that I'd like to do, right? I cope in different ways, right? And you know, I might cope with the dog or with working out or whatever. It's like just stuff to pass the time that you know, I still think is enjoyable. And you know, despite not ever having a girlfriend, they're probably never having a girlfriend, right? So like I like going back to the one last point or whatever, right? It's like I have all these copes and they make my life you know, content, right? Like I'm content with life. Will I ever be happy with life? Probably not, because it's missing that relationship component, right? But people would think, oh, you're not happy, that means you're depressed, right? But it's like, no, it's just like I'm content, right? But I'll never be able to take it to that next level. It's like being unable to complete a game, like 100% a game, right? You can't 100% it because you're locked out of some DLC, so you can't, I don't know, pick up some extra items that you don't need them to beat the game, but you need them to 100% it, right? Like I don't know if anyone ever played the Metroid Prime games for the GameCube, right? So it's like you to 100% it, like you need to scan all the lore items and all the creatures and get all the missile expansions and those life bar expansions. I don't remember what they're called. You need to get all of that stuff, right? But you don't need to get them all to beat the game, but to 100% the game, you need them all. And me not being able to get all the missile expansions, right? Something like that is basically me not being able to get a girlfriend, right? Can I move on and still complete the game? Sure. Well, am I able to 100% it and have a fully optimal life? No, right? That I just can't. You know, that's the reality of it, right? And some people will be, oh, bro, you don't need a girlfriend to have an optimal life. It's like you do need some relationship. I think you do, right? Then we'll just have to disagree there or something, because humans are like social animals, right? They desire and crave relationships, human contact, and never having anything of that nature is obviously going to negatively impact your life. Will it completely deter you and make you into a rot maxing Redditor? No, but it doesn't have to. But will it prevent you from having a 100% happy life? Sure, I do think it will. So, you know, that's kind of it. The TLDR, forced independence and not being able to count on anyone else, right? And just having to accept that my life will only be able to ever be at a level of being content, right? Not happiness, but just contentness, if that makes sense. So yeah, that's kind of it for now. Later.